Welcome to the fifth and final training of our Restorative Practices series, intended for teachers and staff in the Tucson Unified School District. Each employee who takes these self-paced professional learning trainings must complete them in order. This last part will cover an in-depth look at restorative circles. In order to understand the need for restorative circles in schools, one needs to know the why, the types of circles, purpose, and goal. With that in mind, let's begin. So why circles? Restorative circles have a long-running history that started with the indigenous people sitting around a campfire to distribute access to fire and light. The practice continues in many traditions and cultures today. In 1998, the International Institute for Restorative Practices, or the IIRP, prompted a new way of thinking, new practicing, and new results in dealing with discipline and behavior, assisting frustrated teachers at the academy in Pennsylvania. Restorative circles help in the classroom management by building positive relationships between students, restoring friendship, and healing the harm. Circles create an atmosphere of cooperation in which students take responsibility for their actions. The following is a list of helpful tips for running restorative circles. Provide full, detailed documentation to support the type of circle by email or the restorative circle form to the restorative practice facilitator. Know and understand the type and differences of restorative circles needed in advance: proactive, responsive, or staff. Establish teacher and classroom goals for the circle. Know your audience. Arrange for circle to be set up prior to visiting classroom. Set up a centerpiece and discuss purpose. Discuss the restorative circle process with clarity. Speaking from the heart, listening from the heart, the talking piece, and confidentiality. And finally, follow up with the students and classroom learning community. Circles are effective because they create a more formal, structured environment that requires planning. There are three specific types of restorative circles: proactive, responsive, and staff. Proactive circles express values and ideas such as equality, safety, trust, responsibility, facilitation, and ownership. Proactive circles are also consequential. Some types of circles within proactive circles include sequential go-arounds, non-essential circles, and fishbowls. The IIRPA suggests that 80% of all restorative circles should be proactive. Responsive circles are used to respond to conflicts that have occurred in the classroom, community, learning environment by addressing the issue. They include students by creating a plan to build a sense of belonging and a positive climate. Responsive circles are not used to identity trouble, segregate, administer punishment, or exclude students. When you frame a restorative circle to resolve the problem, rather than focus on the wrongdoer, the issue gets resolved with a desirable outcome. An example of this is when a wrongdoer restores their good nature and standing by taking responsibility for their actions. In that scenario, the restorative process has been successful. Staff circles engage teachers and staff in decisions and discussions pertaining to adult problems and conflict. This process builds relationships between staff and students. It may be used either proactively or responsively. An example of a staff circle is where teachers in the circle repeat that they'd like to get to know each other better and they hope they can find time to meet. Depending on the need or requirements of the school, circles for adults may be arranged to include staff meetings, department meetings, professional development sessions, or using circles to learn about circles. Now, let's discuss setting norms, the talking piece, and restorative conferences. It is helpful to touch on the important ideas and values behind circles when introducing them to your class, as it creates a strong foundation and informs greater progress for the group. Three main values are equality, safety, and trust. Everyone in the circle has equal seating. The shape of a circle strategically allows for everyone to see and hear one another, thus creating a space where everyone feels equally seen and heard. Once everyone feels visible and equal, the space becomes ideal for learning and building community. You can begin by making a simple statement presenting this idea that everyone in the circle is equal and important, and follow that up by ensuring everyone is easily visible by everyone else. Another value area is responsibility and facilitation. Everyone has a chance to play a role in the outcome of the circles. Thus, the circle has a role to remind the leader to facilitate in a manner that allows everyone this role, rather than merely lecturing those in the circle. You can present this idea with a simple statement like, "Everyone's voice is encouraged in this circle. I am merely here to facilitate the conversation, not teach a lesson or make a point. Feel free to remind me of this at any point in this circle." Another core value is ownership and connections. Collectively, the participants feel the circle is theirs. The space the circle provides belongs to the group as a whole. This sense of ownership allows the members of the circle to speak freely and openly, and truly listen to others, enabling organic connections. You can present this idea with a simple statement like, "The circle belongs to everyone. This space is yours to express yourself and take time to truly and respectfully listen to others." Introducing these values and ideas to the group will help alleviate any overwhelmed feelings before entering the potentially daunting intrapersonal dimension of teaching and opening forums for the free expression of affect. The following suggestions are also helpful. Introduce circles when things are going well. Design an activity to familiarize students with the idea of circles. Remember that you as the teacher do not always have to facilitate, rather encourage volunteer facilitators, and encourage everyone to speak from first person and utilize effective language within the circle. In order to fully understand the talking piece, it is important to keep in mind that it doesn't matter how it's implemented, just that the rules are clear and its use facilitates an orderly circle process. The talking piece is useful because it keeps attention focused on the circle. It maintains a smoothly run circle and reinforces the fact that only one person may speak at a time. It also serves as a physical reminder that the person talking should receive the group's full attention. Finally, it provides fidgety students something tactile to handle when it's their turn to speak, effectively calming them. The rules for implementing a talking piece in your circle are as follows. Whoever has the piece in their hands is the only one in the circle permitted to speak. The exception to this is when the teacher needs to make a comment or ask a clarifying question. In a sequential go-around, the talking piece may be passed from person to person. In a non-sequential, the rules may vary. When a speaker finishes, they may hand the talking piece to someone else, or else to a facilitator who hands the talking piece to the next speaker. Or it can be placed in the center, and whomever wants to speak can take it and become the speaker. The talking piece should be an object that can be safely passed around, but it can be a practical item readily found in the classroom. An example of this is a whiteboard eraser or pencil box. Talking pieces can also be a symbolic object with meaning to the group or class. An example of this is a small globe might be used as a talking piece for a geography class. Talking pieces can also be meaningful to the facilitator and expressed to the group before the circle begins. This sets a safe tone and can serve as a sort of icebreaker. Students too can be engaged to help choose the talking piece. It is important to consider that presenting the talking piece with confidence will impact how older students may view the talking piece, as some may feel silly and make a joke if the talking piece should only be utilized for younger students. Talking pieces make those who do not usually have the confidence to take up space feel entitled to equal space as other members within the circle. Talking pieces are also used for people of all ages and have been utilized in many cultures, specifically indigenous cultures, for centuries. A formal restorative conference is a specialized type of circle that provides participants with an opportunity to confront the offender, express their feelings, ask questions, and have a say in the outcome. A restorative conference can be used in lieu of traditional disciplinary or justice processes, or where that is not appropriate, as a supplement to those processes, according to a study by O'Connell, Wachtel, and Wachtel from 1999. Conferences provide greater opportunity for reconciliation between victims and offenders, related parties, and other affected by the incident. In addition, research by McCold and Wachtel in 2002 shows that it consistently provides very high levels of satisfaction and sense of fairness for all participants. However, it is important to consider that a conference is not a counseling session or a meditation process. Rather, it is a victim-sensitive, straightforward, and constructive forum utilized for problem solving, according to the same earlier study by O'Connell, Wachtel, and Wachtel from 1999. As long as people experience a safe opportunity to have a meaningful discussion that helps them address the emotional and other consequences of a conflict or wrong, the process is beneficial. Some common examples of when to use restorative conferences are vandalism, fights in and outside of school, gang disputes, cursing at teachers, drugs being used or sold at the school, feuds between parents of students outside the school, and similar situations. The restorative process conference begins with the facilitator meeting with both parties prior to the conference to explain its structure and ensure the offender has taken full responsibility and will not re-victimize the people they have already hurt. This is also a time when the facilitator can answer any further questions either party may have. It is important to remember that the facilitator keeps conferences focused but is not an active participant. In the conference, the facilitator provides an opportunity to each participant to speak, beginning with asking open-ended and effective restorative questions of the person who has been harmed. This is a less flexible circle, as the facilitator will be more active in directing questions directly to each party in a very structured manner. Offer the script of questions to the person who has been harmed first, and if they decline, offer the script of questions to the offender. The questions for the person who has been harmed read as follows. What did you think when you realized what happened? What impact has the incident had on you and others? What has been the hardest thing for you? What do you think needs to happen to make things right? The list of questions for the offender read as follows. What happened? What were you thinking about at the time? What have you thought about since? Who has been affected by what you have done? And what do you think you need to do to make things right? Congratulations! You have completed the video portion of Part 5 in our Restorative Practices series training, which focused on restorative circles. You can now head to topic number 2 and pass the quiz with an 80% or higher to receive full credit for this course.